Have you ever found yourself looking back at the road you've traveled and feeling the weight of regrets? What if I told you that even in our golden years, there's still a fire burning within us, waiting to light the way forward? Imagine, after all these years, being invited to walk in joy, freedom, and purpose once again. Would you take that step? My friends, as the sun begins to set gently on the horizon of our lives, it does not mean the fire within us must fade. No, the golden years of life are not a time to slow down or retreat. They are precious, filled with opportunities for clarity, wisdom, and peace. But in order to fully embrace this stage, we must first recognize the things, habits, and mindsets that must be put to rest. There are choices we need to stop making now if we are to live a life full of joy, freedom, and purpose. So, today, with love and truth, I want to share with you 5 things you need to stop doing right now. If you're walking into your senior years, don't think it's because you're done. No, you are not done. There is still light in you. There is still purpose. Let's walk together in wisdom. As we look back over the tapestry of our lives, we can see a trail of memories that shape who we are today. Some memories are warm and golden, like the sun on a spring morning, while others still ache deep in our souls. In these later years, it's easy to find ourselves dwelling on those memories a little longer. Perhaps we replay old conversations, mistakes, or decisions we wish we could undo. Maybe it was something you said in anger, or something you failed to say when it mattered most. It could have been a relationship you lost, an opportunity you missed, or a road you chose that led you to pain. And now, as the years roll by, those memories begin to feel like shadows that follow you everywhere you go. But hear me when I say this. Regret is a chain the enemy would love for you to wear around your neck. It is a weight that presses down on your spirit, making you believe that your past has power over your peace. But the truth that will set you free, is this: what's done is done, and it is forgiven. You see, grace isn't just for the young or those embarking on fresh starts. It's for every heart that turns toward mercy. It doesn't matter how long ago it happened or how deeply you regret it. The blood of Jesus still speaks. It still covers. It still redeems. You are not defined by what you've done. You are defined by who you belong to. And if you belong to Him, then your past has no authority over your future. Stop living in regret. Stop rehearsing the pain of what you can no longer change. God is not asking you to fix yesterday. He's inviting you to live today in the light of His forgiveness. The enemy may whisper that it's too late to make peace with your past. But the truth is, it's never too late when grace is involved. Think of the stories we know well. The thief on the cross in his final moments simply turned his head and said, "Remember me." And Jesus didn't say, "Too late." He said, "Today, you will be with me in paradise." That is the heart of our Savior, and it hasn't changed. So, what do you do with your regret? You lay it down, not because you feel like you deserve to, but because God is faithful. You lay it at the feet of the one who said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That includes the burden of guilt. That includes the shame you've carried for years. Let it go, my friend, not because it wasn't serious, not because it didn't matter, but because God's mercy is more powerful than your memory. The past cannot be your home when God is calling you forward. So, when the voices rise up to remind you of where you failed, remind them of where you've been forgiven. Walk into this season of your life not haunted by what was, but hopeful for what is. You are not done. You are not disqualified. You are not damaged beyond redemption. You are still here, and that means God is still at work in you. Stop living in regret. The cross is behind you. The light is ahead. Walk in it. But there is more to this journey. There's a silence that creeps in slowly. And before we know it, we've grown used to it. The phone rings less. The visits become fewer. The calendar, once brimming with plans, starts to look a little empty. And soon, we begin telling ourselves stories. No one needs me anymore. I don't want to bother anyone. It's better to just keep to myself. But let me speak plainly. You are not made for isolation. You were not designed to walk through these days alone. From the very beginning, God saw that it was not good for man to be alone. And that truth doesn't fade with time. As we reflect on the truths we've shared, the idea of connection is more vital than ever. Just as we are called to walk in grace and forgiveness, we are also called to never allow ourselves to be isolated. No matter the years we've lived, loneliness becomes a shadow that we cannot escape, especially as we grow older. It doesn't always scream loudly. Sometimes, it's the quiet moments, the silence in the room, the empty chair at the table. Sometimes it's hearing your own voice more than any other. A constant reminder that the world around you is moving forward while you feel left behind. Perhaps it's holding onto memories so tightly, while the hands that once held yours have faded away. But listen, my dear friend, you do not have to carry that weight. You were not created for solitude. You were designed for community, for connection, for laughter, and for shared moments of joy. There are people out there, people who still need your wisdom, your stories, your experience. There are hearts yearning for the love you still have to give. Just because the world moves faster doesn't mean it has moved on without you. So what can you do now? Maybe it's time to pick up the phone. Call that old friend you've been meaning to reconnect with. Perhaps it's inviting someone over for a cup of coffee, stepping into a local church group, or joining a senior circle or volunteer team. It doesn't have to be grand. Sometimes, it's just one conversation, one step, that can begin to melt the frost around your heart. Don't let the lie of isolation take root. You are not forgotten, not by people, and certainly not by God. He knows your name, your voice, and your soul. He longs for you to be connected once again. Remember, God places the lonely in families. There is a place, a family, a community still waiting for you. I know it's hard. Perhaps you've lost a spouse. Or maybe your children live far away. Maybe your friends have passed on, and it feels like your circle has shrunk. But let me gently remind you, don't let grief close the door on new connections. You can still love deeply. You can still be loved. Connection doesn't need a crowd. It begins with one smile, one visit, or one shared story, and soon, light will start to come back into your days. But here's the most beautiful part. You are still here to give love. Just as much as you are here to receive it. There are younger people who need your encouragement, children who long for your kindness, neighbors who crave your prayers. You have something this world is desperate for: presence, patience, perspective. It may feel like your world has gotten smaller, but I assure you, your heart has not. Don't let the enemy whisper that your time to matter has passed. As long as you are breathing, you are called to love and to be loved in return. So, I say to you, stop isolating yourself. You are needed, you are valued. Step back into the circle, because someone is waiting for you there. There's a lie that creeps in quietly as we grow older, a whisper in your mind that says, you've had your time, you've done what you could, now just step aside. Maybe you've even said it out loud, I'm too old for that. Perhaps you've stopped dreaming, stopped reaching, or stopped believing that you still have something to offer. But I need you to hear this, and I pray it resonates deeply within your soul. You are not too old. Not too old to be used. Not too old to grow. Not too old to matter. While the world may celebrate youth and speed, the kingdom of God values wisdom, depth, and endurance. Your value doesn't diminish with age. In fact, it deepens. Your wrinkles tell stories of survival. Your gray hair speaks of knowledge earned through years of trials and triumphs. Your hands, though slower, have held lives together. Your prayers have shaken heaven. And your faith, seasoned by time, has a strength the young can only dream of. Think about the heroes of our faith. Moses was 80 when God called him to lead a nation. Sarah was 90 when she birthed Isaac, the child of promise. Caleb, at 85, asked for the mountain. Anna, in her 80s, saw Jesus in the temple and proclaimed his coming. Age didn't disqualify them, it deepened their calling. God doesn't measure usefulness the way we do. He doesn't see your age and say, it's too late. Instead, he looks at your heart and says, still willing? Then let's go. So, if you've been sitting on the sidelines, convinced that your time is up, I challenge that today. Who told you that your best days are behind you? Who said your story is finished? That's not the voice of truth. That's fear, discouragement, or defeat speaking. And those voices are not meant to control your destiny. Your best days are not behind you. They're still ahead. You may not move as fast, and your energy may not be the same as it once was. But now, you have something you didn't have before. wisdom, patience, insight, and a deeper understanding of what really matters. There are younger people who need someone like you. Not someone perfect, but someone who has lived, who has been through challenges, and who has come out the other side still holding on to hope. You can be that someone. You are that someone. Whether your calling now is to pray fervently for your family, to speak truth into the life of a young couple, or to write down your story for your grandchildren, your story matters. Even if the world never sees it, God does. As we move forward, let us remember this. No matter your age, no matter your past, your story is still unfolding. And God's calling on your life is far from over. As we reflect on the power of forgiveness and release, it's important to recognize the truth that God sees you in all of your quiet moments. He sees the way you keep showing up, even when it feels like no one is watching. And He smiles because you are not forgotten. You are not a leftover. You are a vessel still full of potential, still ready to be poured out. So stop saying you're too old. My friend, God still wakes you up each morning for a reason. That breath in your lungs is proof that He is not done with you yet. Bitterness, though, can quietly settle into our hearts. It doesn't always announce itself loudly, but it begins to build slowly, like dust on an old shelf left untouched for years. It hides in the corners of our hearts, behind memories we try to avoid revisiting. Maybe someone hurt you years ago and never apologized. Perhaps someone you trusted turned their back on you. Or maybe life simply didn't turn out the way you expected it to. And now, in your later years, you find yourself weighed down by that unresolved pain. You might believe that holding on to that pain gives you strength. But in reality, it's taking your peace. It's slowly hardening your heart and draining your soul. I understand, truly, I do. Some wounds run deep. Some betrayals leave scars that never fully fade. But here's the thing. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean what happened was okay. Forgiveness simply means choosing to release the poison before it destroys you from the inside out. It means setting yourself free. Think of bitterness as drinking a cup of poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The truth is, they've likely moved on, while you're still carrying the weight of it. So, I ask you with gentleness, how much longer will you carry this burden? How many more nights will you lie awake replaying something you can't change? How many more holidays will pass by in cold silence because you're still holding on to something that could have been released? You don't have to keep living this way. You don't have to keep revisiting the pain. You don't have to let bitterness dictate the final word in your story because there is a greater word. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It is the strength to say, "You may have hurt me, but you no longer have power over my peace." Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a chance to breathe again. To laugh again, to look forward instead of always looking back. I know it's not easy. It doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes, forgiveness takes time. Sometimes, it requires prayer after prayer. But it begins with a decision. You decide, I will not let this bitterness take root any deeper. Because if bitterness is allowed to grow, it will choke out everything beautiful in your life. It will steal your joy. It will strain your relationships. And it will even affect your health. But when you release it, truly lay it down, it's like sunlight breaking through a long, cold winter. Yes, you may think, but they never said sorry. That's okay. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's for you. It's between you and God. And He sees your heart. He knows how hard it is. And He promises that if you trust Him with your pain, He will heal what others have broken. This is your time, my friend. These are your years to live light and free. Don't let old grudges steal your golden days. Don't let bitterness take up space where peace belongs. Let it go, not because they earned it, but because you deserve to be free. You deserve peace, because He set you free. So stop hoarding bitterness. Life is too short, and eternity is too close to carry what should have been released long ago. Forgive, release, breathe again, and watch what God will do with a heart that chooses freedom over resentment. Worry also has a way of creeping in, doesn't it? You try to enjoy the day, but then that thought slips in. What if something happens? What if my health gets worse? What if I can't make ends meet next month? What if I become a burden to someone? Before you know it, your peace is gone, and you find yourself carrying burdens that were never meant for you. Let me gently remind you, worry doesn't solve tomorrow's problems. It only steals today's peace. Worry is like sitting in a rocking chair. You feel like you're doing something, but you're not going anywhere. You wear yourself out for no reason. And in these precious years, when you should be resting in peace and wisdom, worry becomes an uninvited guest that takes up too much space in your heart. There's a reason the Bible tells us again and again, do not fear. It's not because the world isn't scary, it's because we were never meant to carry fear alone. We weren't designed to walk through life relying solely on our own strength. That's where worry comes from. As we move forward in our journey, it's essential to remember a truth that often gets lost in the hustle of life. Everything does not depend on us. The weight of the world does not rest on your shoulders alone. God is the one holding it all together, and if we look back on our lives, we can see how perfectly He's done it so far. Think about those times when you didn't know how things would work out. You had no clear answers, yet somehow, everything fell into place. Why? Because grace showed up right when you needed it. Provision came just in time. Strength rose up when you felt weak. A door opened when you thought it was closed forever. Someone reached out when you felt isolated. Somehow, in ways we can't always explain, God made a way, and here you are, still standing. So, if He did it for you then, why wouldn't He do it now? He didn't bring you this far just to leave you hanging. He didn't walk with you through the valleys only to abandon you at the peak. No, He is still with you. He is still ahead of you, still working things out on your behalf, even when you can't see it. I know that life has its challenges. Your body may not be what it once was. Your income might be fixed, or your children might live far away. The world might seem uncertain. But here's the constant. God is still the same. He hasn't changed, and He won't start now. Jesus said, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Each day has enough trouble of its own. This wasn't just advice, it was an invitation to trust. It was an invitation to let go, to live one day at a time, knowing that He holds each day in His hands. So, instead of waking up in fear, wake up in gratitude. Thank Him for the breath in your lungs, the strength to rise from your bed, and the people who love you. Thank Him for the memories you cherish and for the opportunity to live this day, right here and right now. When worry comes knocking, answer it with worship. When fear starts whispering, drown it out with truth. Look up and say, "God, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know You." That kind of trust will bring peace, peace the world can't take away. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to know who does. And that's the beauty of growing older in faith. It's not about controlling more. It's about trusting more. So stop worrying about tomorrow. God is already there, walking ahead of you, preparing what you need, and working out what you cannot see. Rest in Him. Breathe deep. Smile today because you are safe in the hands of the one who holds time itself. As we grow older, there's often a temptation to believe that if we're not as active as we once were, we don't matter as much. We may think that if we're not busy, we have no value. The house may be quieter, the phone rings less often, and the roles we once held, provider, caretaker, leader, start to fade. Sometimes, with these changes, our sense of importance fades too. But let me speak life into you today. Your presence still carries weight. Just being here, just showing up, is powerful. You may not be climbing ladders or running around town like you once did. But don't ever confuse activity with purpose. Your value is not defined by what you do. It is rooted in who you are. And who you are is still a vessel of wisdom, comfort, and deep spiritual impact. You don't have to preach sermons or be the loudest voice in the room to bring peace. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show up. Sit with someone who is grieving. Hold the hand of a grandchild. Listen when the world is too loud for someone else to speak. Your calm, steady presence is a gift to a frantic world. The young may be running fast, but they need someone to show them where they're running to. That someone might just be you. You've lived through more, seen more, and trusted longer than they have. That kind of perspective is priceless. There's something sacred about a person who's lived a long life with God. It's the kind of presence that walks into a room and brings comfort. Not because of grand achievements or fancy words, but because of quiet faithfulness. Your life speaks volumes. I'm still standing. God has been good, He's been faithful, and you can trust Him too. You may feel unnoticed at times. But let me assure you, He sees you. He sees the prayers you still whisper when no one else is around. He sees the way you smile through the aches, how you speak kindly even when your heart feels heavy. He sees how you cheer others on, even when no one is cheering for you. And I promise, others see it too, even if they don't say it out loud. Your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors, and the people at church, they see you. Your presence matters. You matter. As we continue on this journey, let's remember the incredible impact your presence still has. It's not just what you do, it's who you are. And simply being with others can speak louder than words. More than anything, those around you feel you. The presence of someone who has walked with God over time brings a peace that can't be faked. You don't need to perform. You don't need to prove anything. All you need to do is be. Just show up. There's power in your quiet presence. Sometimes, just sitting in the back pew at church with your Bible open is a sermon in itself. Sometimes, even if you can't help cook dinner like you used to, showing up to family meals means more than you'll ever know. A simple hug, a knowing nod, a gentle word, they all have the power to change the course of someone's entire day. Don't ever underestimate what your presence brings into a room. You carry the fragrance of a life that has known God, and that is no small thing. Your life, your walk with Him, has shaped you into a vessel of peace and love. So when the enemy whispers lies that you're no longer needed, or that your best days are behind you, remind him of the truth. I am still here. You are still here, and you are still carrying something eternal. You may not be as fast or as strong as you once were, but your life still carries immeasurable value. Your presence still matters. Your life still matters. And as long as there is breath in your lungs, you are still God's instrument in this world. So keep showing up, keep shining. Your stillness speaks volumes in a world that is desperately seeking truth and love. Trust that even in your quiet moments, God is at work through you. Every time you walk into a room, every time you offer a smile or a kind word, you are fulfilling your purpose. Now, it's time to stop carrying what was never meant for you to bear. Let go of the burdens that weigh you down, burdens of regret, of guilt, of past mistakes. Lay them down, because there's so much more ahead for you. Not just in eternity, but even now, there's joy, peace, love, forgiveness, and wisdom waiting for you if you choose to embrace them. So, let's walk out the rest of this journey together, not with our eyes fixed on the past, but looking up with hope for what is still to come. You are still needed, you are still loved, you are still called, and with that truth, you can face the days ahead with confidence and grace. God bless you.